Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It is a new week. It is a blank canvas. It is the opportunity to tell stories, share stories, and a little bit more. Let's rock and roll, squaddies.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening to everyone. Hope your Monday is off to a good start. Here we are, and if I could find the right buttons, it would help. Also, if you're listening on our Apple or Spotify platforms, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do subscribe so you do not miss a show, and if you would be so kind to leave a review, we'll greatly appreciate it. Hello, squaddies, at ease. Welcome to Squad Central. Tonight's show is yours if you want. A lot of the times you love to call in and have a chat with me. The floor is yours. The link to the show is above. But if you choose to bottle it like Tottenham, then I understand that. You know, I've got plenty to say myself. But I thought I'd open the phone lines up because this week I'm going to leave some of the expert talking to our expert guests. On Wednesday, we welcome back one of our favorites, Natalie Sawyer, to the show for a player profile on Christian Nordegaard. Christian Nordegaard? On Nordegaard. The Brentford captain, Natalie, has been covering him. And of course, as we know, she's a lifelong Brentford fan, knows the club inside out, knows Nordegaard's career at Brentford inside out. And she's going to tell us firsthand the kind of player we're going to inherit. So we'll look at his attributes, his style, and also kind of off the books and away from the stats and facts, the type of character that he is as well. So that's on Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK time. You won't want to miss that. Natalie Sawyer talking Nordegaard. I said Nordegaard. This is going to be a problem. I'm not going to make it. I mean, it's going to be a problem, you know, the Nordegaard. I keep doing it over and over again. And before we get to the next announcement, please do hit the like button. And of course, make sure that you listen to our chief like officer, Tammy Steels, who works hard for no money every single time we do a live show. Here is the link if you want to participate in the show. I have a feeling Bill might, but we'll see. So yes, good evening, squaddies. I'll get to a few of you again in just a sec. But on the Thursday show, we welcome European football expert and commentator Kevin Hatchard to the show for a bit of a deep dive into Zubimendi. And I would encourage all of you to please go listen to the Graham Hunter show that we did a couple of months ago. And one of my listeners reminded me that in that Graham Hunter show, Graham, when I asked him about what other player he felt suited Arsenal and the player that he thought Arsenal should definitely inquire about and go after was none other than Rodrygo. And it's a really interesting show. It holds well. I feel like it's an evergreen now, the way Graham talks about the beautiful game, talked about Zubimendi, his relationship with Mikel Merino, his desire to go to Arsenal. And he also talked about Rodrygo as well. So you won't want to miss that. It's in the live section of the channel. And then Kevin Hatchard's going to pop in. He's been following Zubimendi, covering games in La Liga for years and years and years now. He's been a huge fan of Zubimendi, and we're going to do a little attributes, characteristics, FIFA style, but, real on the player that we're inheriting. And he's going to talk a little bit about the intangibles as well, and some of the stuff that maybe not a lot of Arsenal fans know about. So that's Kevin Hatchard on Thursday at the earlier time of 4 p.m. And we've got Natalie Sawyer on Wednesday at 8 p.m. in the evening to talk about Nordegaard. Not Nordegaard, Soph. Nordegaard. Man, get that right. Let's say good evening to a few more of you in the house. Shatanya's here. Lone Star is here. Demsec is here. Let's see. Hawkwind's here. Harvey's here. Mark is here. 3 Gaza is here. CM is here. Ian is here. The whole fam jam's here. Dave's here. Harvey, I think I mentioned you. Oh, here we go with that memory again. DJ Assassin is here. PW is here. Christopher is here as well. Quite a few of you in the house. Let's bring in some more. By the way, thank you so much to all. We had I think it was the most ever in live chat. We had 2,000 people in live chat the other night when we had Ben Jacobs in the house. You can go listen to that regarding Martinelli, Rodrygo, EZE, Madueke, and a whole bunch of other conversations as well that we had with Ben. Thank you to all 17,000 of you who watched that episode. Really appreciate it as well. And if you missed Kenny Ken the other night, he was superb. That's the laundry done for this evening. I did want to start off the show, however, by saying a few things. Thank you, Jonathan. Welcome. You know, a lot of Arsenal fans have been throwing their toys out the pram when it comes to transfers. We'll get into that a little bit. You know, some of the Sesko disciples are now all of a sudden all for Gyokeres. Very interesting how that happens. But living here in the United States, and I know it's been a tough time as well in Europe, and, you know, it's been a tough time for Liverpool fans. I got to say that my knees kind of went under me today and yesterday. And you think about doing a show and the importance of what we're talking about. And, you know, it's kind of like a game of Monopoly. And I just wanted to say that real life stuff is going on in this universe. And my heart goes out to the people of Texas. It is heartbreaking and gut-wrenching what has happened, especially when children are involved. And honestly, it sucked the life out of me today. I checked on my friends in Texas, you know, thank goodness they're okay. But to any Arsenal fan, any football fan, any human being who is in the area and affected by this or has been affected by this, my heart goes out to you. It is gut-wrenching what is happening. I'm going to post something in the description too, if you're local and you can help and get stuck in. I reposted something Matthew McConaughey posted earlier as well. It's times like this where you realize what's important. And I think that we forget about kind of this type of stuff, that, you know, it's a privilege to be an Arsenal fan in a way. And we get to talk about this stuff. We get to go back and forth and have opinions. And then life slaps you in the face and you realize that, you know, it's tough times for a lot of people. So my thoughts to all of our Arsenal fans and everyone in Texas. And if you can help and do anything, you know, for the community, I think it would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, and if you need anything or in the area and you just need to talk, just, you can email me, thehighburysquad@gmail.com, thehighburysquad@gmail.com as well. And with that said, you know, we carry on, and this is what we were talking about with Ben Jacobs the other night, right? Too, you want to pay your respects and you want to show compassion, and then you kind of go on and talk about stuff and it doesn't feel real. But I also think, just like during COVID, where really the channel grew and we all came together as a community, we needed each other, right? And football helps you escape in some regards. And I think if we just remember in the back of our minds that the beautiful game is a game, and the fact that we can come together still and, you know, talk about our club and connect, we're always here for each other on this platform as well. But I just wanted to talk and acknowledge about, and Lone Star is in Texas. I hope you and your family are safe. I've been thinking about you. And I was hoping you would be on tonight. So make sure, let me know that everything's okay, Lone Star. All right. So this is what we're going to do this week. We're going to bring some shows and talk about, as I said, Natalie Sawyer's on Wednesday, Kevin Hatchard is on Thursday, and we're going to talk about Zubi. We're going to talk about Norgard. And tonight, if you want to be on the show and join me in studio, please do so. Just like Bill is right now. Bill, one of my favorites at ease. How are you?
Hey, Soph, hey, squatties, at ease. Yeah, you called and I answered. Yeah.
You got the bat signal.
Absolutely. I always love coming on to chat about any and everything Arsenal, especially, yeah, like you said, in times like these where, you know, sometimes you just need the reprieve and you need to jump into something that isn't so serious. But yeah. Glad to be on.
Yeah, it really does. And there's a lot of love coming from the squaddies as per usual as well, because we're such a great community here and such a loving community. And, you know, yesterday, you know, just when you think Sundays are boring, it certainly wasn't a boring day for the Arsenal. But I'm going to ask you, Bill, what do you make so far? How was your Sunday yesterday? How did you digest the news? And let me play this actually before I get your take. By the way, somehow I nixed the sound, but there's only one thing he says at the end and the subtitles for it. But let's enjoy it together, shall we? He is a gunner. Yeah. Zubimendi is a gunner. Let's get your take on that first.
It's always great when a signing comes out of the blue and shocks the world, isn't it? But no, it's nice to finally have it, you know, through the door, and you know, just able to talk about it in real terms instead of, you know, 99% sure terms, and it's just been great. And we shouldn't downplay it in the fact that this is an extremely coveted talent. I mean, Liverpool were going after him last season. He turned them down for us. Real Madrid, for, you know, all that it may have seemed like just PR, they were in for him as well. But credit to the team. They did the business. They did what was necessary to get him in, get him convinced to the point where it didn't matter who came along. He was going to be a gunner. And, you know, that was a great video, but I think you played the wrong one. The signing video with the little
music, the drums.
That was phenomenal. More of those, please. Not just because, you know, they're great videos, but because that means more signings.
Now, Bill, the reason why I didn't play that one was because there could be a copyright on the music. And of course, then I'd have to like deal with editing and trimming and getting told off by YouTube. But you're right. And I think people forget this is a player that Liverpool thought they had signed, sealed and delivered last season. He was courted by Bayern Munich. There was some interest from Real Madrid, last gasp type of stuff. And yeah, he's that defensive midfielder that I think we've been craving with Jorginho leaving. I think he's got that classic holding midfielder role, you know, the distribution and the defensive work. He doesn't score a lot of goals, Bill, but I don't care about that if he's doing that classic midfielder role, and we've seen him do it for Spain as well.
Absolutely. And we don't really need a midfielder, a deep lying midfielder like that to come in and score goals. We are hopefully going to be making 2, 3, 4, if we can, signings that will help us in the goals department. I think we're good in that sense. But yeah, this is a really exciting talent, and one that it hopefully helps us to play in a slightly different way. And one of the most exciting things that I think I've liked about this signing is that I'm hoping it is a benefit to Martin Odegaard, not Nordegaard, but
I'm going to do that a lot. I mean, I'm such an idiot.
They are so similar. You won't be the only one. But I am hoping that it allows Odegaard to stay a lot higher for a majority of the game, because he doesn't have to be that guy to drop back and be that first line, line to help us break into the final third, he can stay there and let Zubimendi be that guy to make that pass. And he can stay up there, do his duty to make those final passes to get us the assist or the goals that we need.
Okay, brilliant stuff. We've got a few more people in the green room as well. But before you go, I've got to get your take on whether or not you were a Gyokeres or Sesko guy. Sesko was the one that supposedly Mikel wanted for so long. It sounded like Berta was always in on Gyokeres. Arsenal fans were divided about this one. I say, go get the goal. Go get the guy who scored over 50 goals in Europe last season. Bill, before we let you go, what about Gyokeres and Sesko?
Yeah, you say Arsenal fans were divided. I think not only were they divided amongst each other, but they were divided amongst themselves. I was one of those where I was about, probably, 52-48, and it changed depending on who I was listening to at the moment and who was being hyped up at the moment. I think overall, I kind of landed on the side of wanting Sesko mostly because of those external factors that he offered, like his age, the potential. He's been scoring goals for Leipzig for a while, obviously not to the extent that Gyokeres is doing, but he also offered that potential to be that Isak signing where, we sign him before he's, that really top talent, and then you get him for, a lot of his prime years. But I am obviously not even remotely disappointed in signing Gyokeres, because how could you not be with what you've seen in his output? Whether or not it translates to the Premier League, we'll see. But I feel like this is not going to be a signing that flops. And ultimately, I'm just happy that we are getting him in early enough that he can have a preseason with us, which is something that you might not have been able to say would have happened in previous seasons.
Very well said. I'm just bummed I can't use this anymore. Maybe one of my other artists that very kindly let me use their art on the show. Maybe we could just swap the shirt there, Bill. Let everyone know where they can find you at Goonerworks. Any other? Is that on Instagram and X and everywhere?
It's most places. Yeah. I post more in some places than others. You can find me on Instagram technically, but I don't think I post there. But yeah, X, Blue Sky, Threads. You can find me there.
Love it. Bill, thank you so much for popping in. A great way to start the show with you, as always. Please go follow Bill at Goonerworks. He is one of the OGs here at Squad Central, and always comes with such a great mindset, always respectful, and we adore you here at Squad Central. Bill, thanks so much for joining.
Really appreciate it. Have a good one, Soph.
Take care, mate. At ease. Let's bring in Mr. AFC Max. Welcome.
How you going, Soph?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I should probably do this before I start the show, because otherwise they will get on to me for not doing it properly. And also Super Careful always does it when he comes on the show. So I should always do my due diligence and everything else. So yes.
You did good. You did good. What say you? How's it going? What's your take on everything that's been happening so far this July, I'm going to say, because it feels like Arsenal have woken up.
Yes, and I feel like I've woken up, Sophie, because I live in Australia, so obviously I have hella time zones and all the rest of it, with obviously watching football and getting transfers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, 100%. With the Zubimendi thing, honestly, I think we've known for quite some time, since probably January of last year, that we were signing him, obviously. And it was really not really. It was probably the worst kept secret. And you know what the thing is, Sophie, is that apart from Isak, obviously, which has always been talked about, and a lot of Arsenal fans have been wanting, right? We've basically essentially got their the same Real Sociedad midfield from 2 seasons ago, funnily enough, in some crazy world, you know, and with Mikel Merino and Martin Odegaard and obviously now Zubimendi. So yeah,
I've got this picture for you. I got this picture for you, Max.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Zubi and Martin only played together for 3 months, but you know, this connection. Here's the scoop, and I don't know if you think this is you know, me just being too like Greek and emotional and stuff, but I think as much as the talent, right? Because I believe this is what Mikel Arteta thinks as well, is that there needs like having a connection with people at the club. Like when people move, I mean, you live in Australia. I moved from, you know, I lived in Greece for a while, moved all the way to America. You know, having friends here, knowing people was so important to me to help me settle in, because I don't care what anyone says. Like when you move somewhere, it's really tough. And I think that these connections, Mikel Merino, Zubi, even that he only knew Martin Odegaard for a short time, I think these are the things that will help Zubimendi settle in quickly where he can just focus on his football a lot too. Do you believe in all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, Soph. And obviously, you can't forget David Ray, his Spanish teammate as well. When he plays for the international squad, obviously Kepa obviously plays for the international squad as well. So these are the things that obviously are very, very important to players, having a connection, having someone that will understand and support the player when they end up coming in, which is a very, very key point, and very underrated and very underappreciated as well. So. Now, on the whole,
have you? What is it you want to tell me? Tell me. Go on. Let it all out.
You know, the thing with Sesko and Victor Gyokeres, look, I made no secret that I wanted to have Victor Gyokeres in the club. I made no secret of it. I made no tweet of it. You actually go back on my tweets all the way back into when we first started getting linked to him, actually. And I've said it, and I stand by the same point, that he would be the goal scorer. He would be the sort of threat that would drag players away from players like Bukayo Saka and let space open up for players like Martin Odegaard to go and basically dictate the midfield more effectively. However, in saying that, I think with the Sesko and Gyokeres debate, I generally believe that Sesko would be a better fit for the football club, just from a play style perspective, but from a goal scoring perspective and from his age, I think he still needs a little bit of time and he's still quite raw. And I think a lot of what the Arsenal fans, especially this season in particular, are at the point now where you talk about the journey. So they're talking about the journey and the train ride and everything else. That I think they're at the station now, ready to get off and win those trophies now. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I think if we get the players we've been linked to, I think there is no excuses for Mikel Arteta to go and win trophies.
Yeah, you know what? One of the things, and well said, by the way, is I feel like Gyokeres is a player who's paid his dues. I think Sesko's kind of. I say this. I'm not saying he's a spoiled brat, but he's young and he's very well sought after. I feel like Gyokeres has some football scars. Like he's really grafted and earned the right to play for the Arsenal, and I like that about him. I like the fact that he's 27, and we need ready-made. We can't be doing this project. It's process. We've done that. Progress. We've done that. Now it's success. Max, what's your closing statement for the squaddies before we bring someone else in?
What I would say, first off, I would like to say thank you for bringing me on, Soph. I really do appreciate it, right? And second of all, right, if Victor Gyokeres, right, is willing to split up with his partner that's over in Portugal, take $2 million from his own fee to get this deal done, right? And though he's looking at houses, right, and he's basically begging Arsenal to go and complete him, that's good enough for me, Soph.
Wow, drop the mic. Well done, Max, and thanks so much for letting us use your picks and stuff like that. We really appreciate it.
Sure, you know, no worries. So it's always a pleasure to be on one of your great shows. Thank you so very much. You're
awesome, mate. Take care. And where in Australia are you?
Sydney.
Okay. Oh God, Magic Mike's in Sydney right now. Duck. You might see he's been hanging out at the Opera House a lot, taking pictures with the wife. So if you see,
I might bump into him.
And you can follow Max. Is it at AFC Max? It's the same, right?
So it's at AFC _ Max 93.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, don't be a stranger. Okay. We'll see you again soon. Thanks, Max.
Thanks,
Lots of love. Take care. Awesome.
too.
We love Max. So talented as well. That's what I love about our squaddies as well. We've got a lot of talent. I'm going to take the calls in the order of which I have received them. And you know what? I'm really surprised that no one's mentioned the dirty word yet. Is there a dirty word? You know, I don't know if you watch Andy Cohen and watch What Happens Live. He always says if someone mentions this word, start taking shots. But I'm surprised that no one has mentioned, I'm just going to put it up. And for those listening on audio, I'm surprised no one's mentioned Madueke yet, but I'm sure we'll get there. Now, hopefully, I say his name pretty much every show. I'm sure I've bastardized it. I'm going to find out soon enough. Shitanya, did I get that right or wrong?
Oh, you got it right. Hello.
Hi, where in the world are you calling from?
I'm from Chicago.
Nice. Oh, I love Chicago.
Yeah, it's pretty hot right now. The summer's been pretty brutal, especially this year.
Do you go down to the pub and hang out with the Chicago Gooners for the games?
I think I've only been done once though, because the problem in the US is the games are early morning and I'm just too lazy.
Listen, this is why I don't go down to the pub in LA a lot. It's 50 miles from where I live, and I love going down there, but because I have to do a show afterwards too.
Oh yeah,
it's
massive.
A little bit
LA
tough.
is massive. It's just too much traffic as well.
What do you want to say? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Where are you in an elevator, or I like your
I'm
vibe
just
there.
In a closed, confined space.
I like it.
A soundproof, confined space. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Have your say.
I'm very, for like an Arsenal fan, I'm very happy that we signed a striker. I honestly was not expecting us to sign either, because with the past history on how we've signed players. So I'm pretty excited to get Victor Gyokeres. Although my favorite player to be signing is Julian Alvarez. I've kind of liked that guy for a couple of years. We should have gotten him before he went to Atletico Madrid, because he just suits Arteta's style. He just suits he's the ideal false nine in the game right now. And he's partnering with Messi, who's probably the best false nine. He's learning from Messi. He's always fit. He contributes goals, but that's like a dream. That's my dream signing if I want one. But for like Zubimendi and Zubimendi and Victor Gyokeres are like top two signings. One's the top scorer in Europe. One's the very highly sought out defensive midfielder. So that's good. I think what we need is a couple of more players.
Who's on your shopping list?
I would take EZE. I think EZE fills in a lot of gaps. I would also take Rodrygo. That's like another dream signing. I doubt that'll happen. That's like very, very ambitious. If that happens, then we got to give credit to Berta. That's a big deal. And
that's a Rolls Royce type signing.
I don't see the reason for us signing Madueke. I think we should like grow Ethan Nueri. We just leave Madueke alone. We don't want to be like buying Chelsea players. I don't know why we do that. But that's kind of what I think. That'll be a good window. I'd say that'll be a 9 out of 10 window. If we get Rodrygo, I'd say that'll be a 10 out of 10 window. But if we get EZE along with this, whatever we have right now, I'd say it's probably an 8 or 9 hour window.
Yeah, and EZE brings in the Premier League experience as well. And we've got Cross Jonky in the house. Have a word with the family. We'd love EZE.
I want EZE and Rodrygo. Ideally, I want both of them, but I just don't see us getting both of them.
And are you excited for the new season? Are you or are you enjoying the break? What's your closing statement for the squaddies?
For the squaddies, it's like we need to have a winning mentality, especially after the women's Champions League final. I think the men need to get that too. I think we need to get that mentality. The women were, underdogs. They took it over. I think we as men, the football team, need to do the same thing as well. So I really enjoyed the women's Champions League, the whole run. That was insane.
Yeah, it was fun.
What we need is to have that winning mentality. We have a good squad. We just need that winning mentality to win those important games.
Love that. Now, are you on social media? Do you have a handle so the squaddies can follow you?
Not really. I had an old Twitter account.
Good for you.
But I'll jump in on the stream sometime. Whenever I get time, I jump in on the streams whenever I have time. But it's nice talking to you.
Yeah, it's always great to see your name pop up. Appreciate you, and don't be a stranger, okay?
Yeah.
And pop in next time we do a phone in as well.
Absolutely. It was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you as well. That's Chaitanya from Chicago, who so far I think has the best setting of any of the squaddies that has jumped in. And well said, Ian. I love how the live chat is giving kudos to those who are popping in the studio. Now, next person's not on camera. Hello there. Hello, hello, hello. No? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. We'll try you again in a little bit. Let's see who's next. Seb. Seb is back. At ease, Seb. How you doing?
Great. Married man now. It's for about 2 months now, so it's great.
What? When did this? What? Tell us what happened. You got caught.
Actually, I got married in London. Actually, from Boston. So met up with the family. Had a small little get together. It was great.
How am I just finding this out? Wow. Firstly, we didn't get an invite, squaddies, but we get it. That's fine. Where in London? I bet it was beautiful, picturesque. Congratulations, Seb.
Thanks.
And how long have you and your better half been together?
Oh, we've been together for 10 years, engaged for 5. She started business after a year into our engagement, so I kind of put things off for a while and then bought a home and all those things. So all the grown up things that you need to do up in this world. But
I love it. Congratulations. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. I hope you guys have happy, healthy adventures and beautiful stuff from you. And what do you want to share with the squaddies tonight?
So while I was in London, I was able to go to my first Arsenal game against Bournemouth, and I think I tweeted one thing to you, Soph, was about a chant that was going about Odegaard, and they were saying no more Odegaard. That was something, and while I understand that we did horrible in that game, they got me thinking about for this upcoming season, and I think we need to really be there. The Cronkies, Arteta, the whole club has now come behind and really brought what we needed here at the club. And what we need to do is to turn up every single game. We need to scare the opponents at every single game just by the crowd being there, but also supporting all the players through the thick and through the thin. So, yeah.
So here's the scoop with that. I was very vocal for the PSG game, right? I feel like when Arsenal fans are left to their own devices, they create an organic, fearless atmosphere that is insane, right? Yeah. And you've been there. A lot of our listeners, people phoning in, there's just something very special about it when the fans are left to their own devices. And the Real Madrid game, I wasn't there, but the people that were there said it was crazy. Like if people thought that the Bournemouth, Reece Nelson goal was lit and the Eddie Nketiah Man United goal, I was there for those, was lit, the Real Madrid game was just on a different level. And then I think with PSG, the club tried to manufacture it too much, and that's where I feel like, but I hear what you're saying. You just want them to get behind the team and support the team. But I don't want the club telling fans how to support the team in the stadium anymore. I'm not for that at all.
I'm not for that either. I don't think
Arsenal fans need help.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like some of the chants and some of the music that was going on. I was like, it just didn't fit the occasion. And I think now we just need to let the football speak for itself. You talk about the eye test a lot, and I think this is something now we're finally at where we're signing people that are passing the eye test immediately, and we're not having to really think too much about it, right? Maybe Sesko and Gyokeres, they both passed the eye test, so we're just kind of
Seb, I agree. Yeah. I agree with what Len's saying here too. Last season, there was a little bit too much of this, and for those listening on our audio platform, I'm doing that thing that Odegaard does where he's telling. And I feel like that's crept into football a lot, like players lifting the fans and listen, I don't mind that, but I do in a way. I'm just focus on your game. Let the fans do their work. Do fans need a jolt sometimes? Yes, they do. But I think it's too much, because I believe then you're kind of putting the onus of the fans. It felt like at times last season, even when Mikel was doing it, not that they were blaming the fans that they were losing or they couldn't win a game, but at some point you have to play so the fans get into the game as well, Seb. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You bring up a good point. It's an interesting discussion.
Yeah. No. And then in terms of the actual game itself, I think, oh God, I just lost my point. Anyway, I guess my time's up.
That's okay, because while I'm thinking, while I'm thinking, I'm trying to think of what celebrity does Seb remind you of, guys? There's almost 300 of you in live chat. Help me out here. I don't know if it's one of the cast members of Animal Kingdom. I'm trying to put my finger on it. You have a celebrity doppelganger, and I'm trying to figure it out. And were you going to talk about Madueke? Were you going to talk about EZE, Rodrygo? Let me jolt your memory a little bit before we let you go, because I might want to make sure you have your say on the transfers as well.
Yeah, in terms of the transfers, I think for Nwaneri, I think it's just agent games. He has the same agent as Saka. So to me, I'm not too worried about whatever conversations are going on on Nwaneri. I think it's just making sure that there's a future for him. In terms of Madueke, not a big. I see where it could be a benefit and where we're really trying to build the squad, like everyone's been saying, and I think that's a potential hole that we have. And in terms of Rodrygo, I think if we can, again, I've fortunately been that person that has been vocal about Martinelli moving on, and I think if Rodrygo is a for sure, then Martinelli should go, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of Arsenal fans feel the same. Right, Seb, you're getting comments like someone from the lead guitarist from Cage the Elephant, Newman. DJ says Jason Segal. I could see that totally. And then Amazon Andy said, it doesn't matter who he looks like, Seb's a really good looking guy. So there you go. And Guna Works is saying Kieran Culkin. I don't see Kieran Culkin at all.
Yeah.
Demsek being clever. Seb reminds you of Gyokeres. Maybe. Listen, congratulations again. Give your better half a big hug for us. Enjoy. And we'll see you again soon, Seb. Thanks always for supporting the show. Take care, mate. At ease. Cheers. At ease. Brilliant stuff from Seb. Happy marriage to him. God bless him and his wife and his family. Beautiful occasion. Some happy news there, you guys. You see how we do this? We just do real life here at Squad Central. Right. Who do we have next in the house? Welcome. Gun down. We go from positive to like, I'm doing good. How are you? You might want to rethink your screen name. Just saying.
I couldn't resist it. So no, it's
Where
true.
Are you? Where are you in the world?
London.
Are you? Wait, are you a Palmer's? Are you a North London guy? Are you one of my people?
I am indeed. Yes, indeed, I am. Yes, I am.
I'm not going to ask you to give your address away.
I'm unfortunately not as close as I'd love to be to you. I'm kind of a little bit further out, so I'm sort of Watford, Hertfordshire, more Lee Judges area.
Oh, okay. So you didn't go to like Arnos or Brimfield School or one of those?
No, I'd love to claim otherwise, but no.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome to Squad Central. Always good to have a fellow Londoner in the house. We've had London, we've had Chicago. I've forgotten already because, I've got brain fog right now. Have your say. The floor is yours.
I had a couple of comments to make around kind of the whole situation about how we're running the thing. So, for example, what are people's views about Tomiyasu leaving for free? I mean, okay, fair enough. Obviously, he had his injury issues, but we paid a whole chunk of money for the lad. And okay, he was out for a little while, but when he was playing, he was a pretty decent player. So to let him leave for free, I know it's mutually terminated, but that's kind of a question mark for me about kind of how that all came about. Did Berger approach him? Did he approach the club? I don't know how that all that came out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, and just happened, whoosh, and then it was just released. He left the club on mutual consent, and there was nothing more about it, which was kind of super weird. That kind of threw me off a little bit. I thought,
okay. Can I just say, does anyone else your mic's breaking up just a little bit? Come a bit closer to it. Okay. But can I just say, is it me? Sorry, what's your name again?
Andy.
Andy, right. Okay, Andy. Andy is the white Clive Palmer Is it me, or does he
Yeah.
sound like Clive Palmer? Yes, you are the white Clive Palmer.
I'll
There's
take the
no doubt
compliment.
about it in
Clive's a
my
legend.
mind. I don't think the Tomiyasu thing happened overnight, by the way. I think that's something maybe they were negotiating for some time. And if we're being honest, I mean, he's so broken, Andy, you know? And I hear what you're saying, though. Here's another example of maybe re-signing him when maybe we should have been selling him, knowing his medical condition. You know, we've let a lot of players go for nothing at the Arsenal. And I believe with Andrea Berta here, we're going to get better as a selling club, because we've been really, if I can be as blunt as possible, pathetic in the selling market.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I agree with you there. But removing Tomiyasu and his wages, still at the end, we got nothing for him. So it has cost the club.
Exactly. It's the transfer fee and the whole thing. But I guess at the end of the day, as you say, ultimately, because he was so broken, and they weren't obviously sure exactly how quickly he'd become back pathway-wise to fitness, then I guess you've got that challenge of whether you keep him or let him go. And you're absolutely right. Re-signing him just seems bizarre in retrospect, especially with the fitness and the physio side of things. But yeah, there's that point. Then I had a question around the whole kind of Gyokeres saga. Hopefully he's going to sign the 200,000 week kind of contract. But I'm just wondering why it's sort of taken us this long to conclude the deal. I mean, again, I know Berta's been juggling multiple plates, but he's been kind of or certainly been making twerking noises towards us for quite a while. And you'd have thought with all that kind of stuff going on, we'd be in a good position to have concluded this a while ago. And I don't know, it seems a bit.
I hear what you're saying, Andy. The thing with this is that Sesko really was the guy from the beginning. And then when Berta came into the club, I think that changed a little bit. Also, if you look at the reporting and what we've seen from David Ornstein, Fabrizio, and a few others, Sammy, Ben, is since Berta has been in Portugal having the face-to-face, if you've noticed, things are escalating and happening really quickly.
100%.
So to get to this point, Leipzig were doing a song and dance. And I think that, there were rumors about Sesko and his people and the demands and starting and all of this type of stuff. Take that with a pinch of salt. We don't know if that's true, right? We just don't.
100%.
But
it's
Leipzig,
smoke and mirrors, PR bell, 100%.
Yeah, Leipzig for sure wanted. I think they had him overvalued, right? And Arsenal knew that they would make value because of his sell-on capabilities. But once the Gyokeres thing, once they were done with the Sesko negotiations, the Gyokeres stuff, I think, has moved pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, what else do you want to? What else do you want to tell the squaddies before you duck out?
Nothing much, really. Just hopefully, definitely, we don't want Madueke. I don't even want him actually as a plus player, because if he costs more than 25 million, and I do believe that Chelsea are going to want more than that, because I paid 29 million to Eindhoven for him, if I'm not mistaken. So they're not going to kind of walk away for like 20, 30, anything less than 35, 40 million, because it doesn't make sense for them in terms of their finances. And he's not worth 35, 40, 50 million, in my view, nowhere near that as a squad player. I don't think he's demonstrated enough in the appearances he's had to already getting, as I said, to get into that squad and to break in. And so, me, definitely, no. EZE, obviously, because he's bringing the boy home. I mean, crikey, he was a Arsenal lad. And then we obviously cocked up another, it's like a Kane situation, isn't it? We let him go. And then he's obviously blossomed dramatically in other clubs and done very well for himself. But without doubt, he needs to come back. I think he'd be a renegade player that we can use to break between the lines, very much like Rodrygo, where we've got, I envision Rodrygo for us very much, obviously we're playing down that left flank, but then essentially like what Saka's done, almost given them free range to kind of go and terrorize those defenses, pin them back. And with obviously Rodrygo, EZE in the middle, potentially into swapping between him and Odegaard, depending on obviously where you think that the potential opportunities are in terms of formations, tacticals, and so forth. I think it's a no-brainer. The only question I've got is whether they'll sanction all of those deals. I don't know. I mean, I know KSC, I've said it in the chat a bunch of times. KSC are the richest privately held sports group on the planet. There's nobody, Fenwick Group, Glazers, Fenway, Glazers, everybody else, they're all paying over scraps. KSC are way out in front, 15 to 20 billion, depending on how you cut the estimates and who you're talking to about the numbers and where and the whatever. that's reality. So there's no excuse for them not to be having the money to plow into Arsenal, considering we're the crown jewel in their sports portfolio. Okay, the LA Rams, now they bought the SoFi and they're building the SoFi and they're building that huge training complex up in the mountains. They're obviously right up there. But if they invest in us, without a doubt, we're going to be the crown jewel in that KSC collection, in my view. We are already, but
I mean, they won the Super Bowl with the Rams. They won the NBA title. Was it last year? The year before? Last year? I mean, this year they got rid of their coach during the playoffs. People say they're not ruthless enough. No. Once you start not delivering or there's a problem, I think, Josh has... you don't build that type of empire without having a ruthless streak in you. But yeah, I mean, sports-wise, the brother-in-law owns the Denver Broncos now. That whole land, the gentrification of Denver is something that Stan's working on with his brother-in-law, the heir to the Walmart fortune. And of course, they've got the Colorado Rapids that are resurgent under Chris Armas, the former Manchester United assistant, with Wreck-It Ralph, who, by the way, was right all along about Manchester United. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. I don't think you can point the finger at the owners. Mikel Arteta this season, he's going to have another toolbox that is loaded with talent, more talent than last year. And last year, yeah, of course, we were hurt by injuries, but we weren't prepared. We just weren't prepared. And I don't think we dived into the January market because they knew Berta was coming in. I don't think they wanted to make any moves or give him more money until there was an Andrea Berta who had the prowess and the pedigree in the market. Yeah. Are you on social media?
I'm not. Our girlfriend.
Okay, good. Another sensible listener. Well done.
I know. It's such a cesspool most of the time. Excuse me. All the Twitter guys, I'm sure 90% of it is bots. I mean, looking at the content, it's just ridiculous. Like the comments people come out with, they're either bots or they're just complete plants.
Yeah,
that's why
I think we have a bot in chat as well right now.
Anyway, a pleasure to see you guys.
Thank you so much, Andy. You take care. Don't be a stranger.
Rest in peace, King Kev.
Yes, and give my love to North London.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay. Are you Greek, Andy? Is it Gyokeres? No.
No.
Okay.
Half Jamaican.
Half Jamaican. Okay. All right. Well, to the White Clive Palmer, thanks for joining. Take care.
Thanks indeed.
All right, mate. Bye-bye. Bye. That's Andy. And we have an imposter. Should I say imposter or a guest? Let's see. Citizen Nation must be bored this evening. He's a Manchester City fan. What have you all won other than getting knocked out? I mean, really, you guys were a nothing club before all the money came in, right? And in terms of size of club, let's not mistake this, Citizen Nation. You're a smaller club doing really big things in the Premier League, and you've done it in the Champions League. We're a really big club who have been doing small things in the Premier League and the Champions League. But I hope you enjoyed that 5-1 last season, because we certainly did. It was really the highlight of our season, and we thank you so much for joining us this evening. Keep your comments coming until you say something terrible, and then I'll just ban you. But if you want to hang out and talk football with the squaddies, they'll welcome you with open arms until you get a little bit too cocky for your own good. Ooh. Wilson!
Hello, Sophie. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Wilson. How are you? Where in the world are you calling from?
Well, I'm calling from London, UK.
Another Londoner. Let me guess. I'm going to say southwest London.
Northwest London. You're close. Northwest London.
Really close. Really close. Talk to me, Wilson. What say you? What's going on in your world? What are you thinking about our club right now? I love the T-shirt, by the way.
Thanks. I do appreciate that. By the way, I'm not an American fan, by the way. I'm a massive Arsenal fan. I've been an Arsenal fan since 2007. Quite a long time, actually. Quite a while. What I would say from Berta, I like his, I feel like he's shown his decisiveness, decisiveness and experience, which is key. And I think it's played a part in several players that are virtually in right now. I think Norgard is happening. Zubimendi's done. Who else? I'm trying to think about. There's some other players
Kepa?
that we got.
Did you say Kepa?
Kepa's done. I think there's one other player as well.
So it's Kepa so far. It's Zubimendi.
Mendy.
Norgard, according to reports, is going to be announced this week. But, we take that with a grain of salt. We believe it when we hear it. Of course, Gyokeres is close, they say. But also, let's not forget, part of re-signing, Big Gabby. And of course, Miles Lewis-Skelly as well.
That is massive for me. I felt what Bert has done cleverly is not just about signing good players, but keeping I'll say, some of our top players so far, because we cannot afford to lose our big players, Sophie, because we can't be doing what we were doing over 10 years ago, losing top players every single season. We couldn't afford to do it. I think Bert has been more. I said this to one of my very good friends of mine. I said to them, Berta is not going to mess about, and he's not messing about. And I think Arteta said one time he only wants players who wants to play for Arsenal. I think Arteta's backed it up a little bit there, because the fact that Gyokeres, of all people, said he wants to go to Arsenal. The moment he said he wants to go to Arsenal, I thought Arsenal are going to get this done. Arsenal will get this done. But I think personal terms have been agreed. Apparently, all Arsenal need to do now is put the money down. Put the money down, get it over the line. And I would say it's quite important for Arsenal to not only get most of their transfer business done before pre-season, so it allows them to have more time to settle in. Because what we don't want to do, Sophie, is to go to deadline day, not get any of it done. Because if we do not get most of it done before pre-season starts or before the new season starts, I would be very angry at that point, and questions will be asked of potentially Berta, Arteta, and the hierarchy, really. Because at the end of the day, Sophie, we need to win right now. We need to win. We need to win right now, because the team we've got, it is a good team. It needs those final pieces to get it over the line. So I think we finished second 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row now.
No
and
one remembers second.
Exactly. So exactly. There will come a time that surely Arteta needs to get it over the line. Surely, because we need to win those trophies.
Listen, there's no doubt about it. In football, at some point, winning is important. Mikel Arteta is on the clock for a lot of Arsenal fans. When I rattle off to you like David Raya, Jurrien Timber, Benjamin White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Calafiori, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Mikel Merino, Saka, Kai Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli, but then you add Gyokeres, or you add an Eze, or you add a Rodrygo.
Brilliant.
And then you add Waneri as well. It's pretty. Does that not sound sexy?
Now that looks tasty. That looks a very tasty squad. If there's only one player I do not want to see it. I do not want to see at Arsenal. He's called Madueke. I can't pronounce his name very well. Madueke from Chelsea. That's the one player I cannot stand. I mean, what on earth is it us and Chelsea doing these deals every time? I'm like, why? If it's Kepa, I get it. As a backup goalkeeper, I get it. But not Madueke. Seriously? Because what does Waneri have to do to get into this team?
What if listen, I think there's some things going on with Waneri. The club believe in him. He believes in the club. He wants some guarantees. That's what's being reported. Again, we don't know. I think because of the trajectory of Miles Lewis-Skelly and what he achieved this season, everyone wants Waneri to be there. It's similar to, and I hope it's not, I'm not saying similar, but it's the same when Saka came through. Everyone coming out of Hayland, we wanted them to be a Saka. It didn't work out for Emil Smith-Rowe. It didn't work out for players like Charlie Patino. You look at Reece Nelson, and you look at some of those other players that have left. But I think because Miles Lewis-Skelly hit the major heights that he did, Wilson, it became a tougher situation, I think, in terms of the perception of Waneri. I don't think Waneri is going anywhere. I think that he sees Miles Lewis-Skelly and says, I can be there. The Madueke thing, my take on it real quick before I let you go is if this guy was coming from any other club and wasn't like reportedly 50 million, I think Arsenal fans would be kind of okay with it. And I do think sometimes we're hypocritical because we have been crying out for a backup for Saka for so long. To the point where we've been, saying the club are hurting him by the fact that they're playing him as much as they are. And if Madueke comes in, not at 50 million, he's got to come in at a more reasonable price. But unfortunately, you're going to get English tax on that. I'm not saying he's like the answer to everything, but if you've got a squad with Madueke in it who can relieve Saka 25 minutes to go in a game, who can play in the cups, is it so bad? I mean, if he's at the right price.
I mean, 50 million for Madueke is a
I'm not
lot
saying
of
50
money.
million.
Sophie.
I don't think most Arsenal fans will be happy if we pay 50 million for Madueke. I don't endorse that. But if you get him at a cut price, and unfortunately it could be another player going in that direction, but which player? And we have assets to sell as well. We've got Trossard, we've got Martinelli. But I don't know. We'll see. Wilson, are you on social media? And are you another sensible fan who isn't?
Well, I am on social media. I've got Instagram mainly. I've got TikTok and Instagram. Sometimes I do a bit of Arsenal content on Instagram and TikTok about certain things.
What's your handle? I've got a few more people to bring in. What's your handle?
Oh, what do you mean handle?
Are you at Wilson? If you bag that as a handle, I'd be like, man, you should sell it. You make thousands.
No, it's when it comes to Instagram, I believe it's WHiwani at WHiwani50 at Instagram. I believe on TikTok, I believe it's the same as well. If you want to talk to me about Arsenal mainly.
Put it in the live chat and let the squaddies follow you. Thanks so much for joining, Wilson. Brilliant stuff from you. Don't be a stranger, okay? We'll see you next time. Take care. Came off of the rise. Come on, Arsenal. Right. Let's see. Who have we got? Why don't we end the show with two of my favorites? They just so happen to be in the green room at the same time. And I'm like, why waste time? Let me bring them both in together. Ola, JJ, and Albert JTV. Look at you two. James, what's going on with your ratio? I'm seeing your head, there you go. Sit up a little bit. Don't slouch on the Highbury Squad.
I was drinking my water and didn't want to come on cat, so I was like
3.4 ratio. Is it what ratios is it?
Oh my God, Harvey, you crack me up. Crikey, I got a call and missed the whole show. Good thing is you can rewind it. Plus we have a rogue in the chat, which I'm loving. I'm just going to leave him in there because he's cracking me up.
Look, he didn't get his Oasis Cardiff tickets. Let him have a go. He's missed out. They've had a bad year. All he hoped for was his Oasis tickets. He hasn't got them. Let him moan and whinge.
By the way, James, Noel Gallagher, better guitarist than a football pundit. That's all I'm going to say. What's going on, boys? It's great to see both of your faces, two of my favorites, and you'll be seeing these two at Squad Central this season as well. Looking forward to having them back for a whole bunch of different content and shows. I've got to start with Albert James because, listen, let me just say there are a lot of people who all of a sudden are saying, right, that, I always wanted Gyokeres. Gyokeres was the guy for me. He was I always believed, why would you not want someone who scored 50 plus goals versus someone who scored 13? And of course, we heard a lot of the shows and we heard a lot of YouTubers and we heard a lot of key influencers saying, but Sesko has the highest ceiling. I mean, he's got the sell-on value too. And blah, blah, blah. Albert came with some receipts today, squaddies. He posted a link to a show he did in 2023, in the December, I believe it was, of 2023, where he said, listen, I've got to tell you guys something. There's a player, and I would like him at the Arsenal. Albert, 2023, you wanted this guy. And it looks like, put it this way, if Arsenal get EZE as well, I don't know what you're going to do, because you've been calling for EZE for the last 2 years as well. Albert, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that at the outset of the show, Sophie, where I was listening to the green room. And me and James spoke earlier in our Arsenal Brothers group chat. Yeah, some very interesting takes about Victor Gyokeres from a lot of people that we see on the platform with their channels and views on social media. Very, very, very interesting. And I'll say that at best. But yeah, the Gyokeres thing, I said this on my show yesterday that I went to the Arsenal Brighton game 2 seasons ago now. So I think that was like the first weekend in December. I literally bumped into Tom Cannon. I literally did bump into him after the game. And we was talking. I said to him, I said, I think Victor Gyokeres is the one, you know. And at that time, Sophie and James, I think he would have only been at Sporting Lisbon about 4 months, 4-5 months at best. But even his numbers then were more than impressive. I'm not just talking about his goals, by the way. He's a goal and assist king machine. So, Sophie, I'm not going to sit here and pretend.
Oh, come on. You're being way too polite, Albert. I mean, I know you're just such a gentleman, but you could be shredding people left, right, and center right now.
Sophie, there's plenty of time to do that. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
So, no, the striker talk obviously has been spoken about at Arsenal for a number of years, but, you know, I had nothing against the guys that were linked or spoken about amongst the Arsenal fraternity, whether that was Ivan Toney, Dusan Vlahovic, Alexander Isak. There were a few names. There were a few names thrown out there. There was, but yeah, Victor Gyokeres was the one, man. Like I said, I was very impressed with what I saw in the Championship for Coventry. Really good. Championship final a few years ago when they played against Luton, when Luton came up that season, and he played really well with him and Gus Harmer, who's at Sheffield United now, I think. But then you thought to yourself, he's doing a lot better than what I thought he was going to do, like in the first season at Sporting Lisbon, and then obviously the second season. You know, we're talking about 45 plus 50 something goals, and that's not even including the assists. But even so, I was like, because Arsenal obviously haven't really addressed the striker issue for a number of years, and then sort of you fast forward to the links with Sesko, and I said this to both of you separately. It almost turned into a bit of a court case with Sesko versus Gyokeres. I thought Angela Lansbury, Colombo, Kojak, Ironside was probably there as well, getting sick and tired of talking about it. But Dan Potts asked me about it quite a while ago, a few months ago.
Oh, he must be happy. Has he stopped moaning yet?
we'll have that. When I see Potts, I'll calm him down, man. He'll be all right. But no, he asked me in terms of who would you want at Arsenal in terms of a striker. And at that point, I actually turned around and said, I don't really care who we get now because I just want Arsenal to fill the void. And let's be really, really honest, right? Regardless whether you wanted Sesko or Victor Gyokeres or another, we didn't really hear anything in terms of links for Gyokeres at any point. I mean, as I mentioned to James yesterday and Kenny Ken, that you can, as a club, you can admire a player. It doesn't necessarily mean that you want him. So obviously, sort of fast forward the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks where Bert has been at the club, obviously, and then the links sort of came, and you thought, oh, this is interesting. Maybe there are some legs in it, but football moves quickly. It changes quickly. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend. And I said this to James yesterday, that he's obviously not in the shirt technically yet, but it's progressing well. But I was smiling like a Cheshire cat, Sophie, man, to be totally honest with you, because one, I didn't think it would happen. Mikel Arteta talks a lot about market opportunities. This guy, Victor Gyokeres, is more than a market opportunity. You have to be in the conversation, and not just in the conversation. You've got to put a marker down and go and get this guy. Now, I mentioned this to James yesterday, and I don't know what you think, Sophie, and people in the chat. There seemed to be this narrative that sort of formed in the last few weeks about Gyokeres, who's a fellow Gemini as I am. That there's obviously no link. I just thought I'd throw it out there anyway. He just turned 27 on the 4th of June. Now, all of a sudden, the shift, oh, yeah, but Sesko, the project, and sell on value, and this and that. I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Gyokeres is not 50. He's in the
so
prime
ridiculous.
He's in the prime of his career. So to me, it was a no-brainer. And also, like I said, what I found a bit strange is it's not just the goals of Gyokeres. Very powerful, strong runner. Very, very powerful, strong runner. I credit Kenny Ken for saying this. He's got similarities to kind of a Stan Collymore in that sense. Very good at one-on-ones. And like I said, a player, goal scoring way back in the day, like your Linekers, is about getting goals. But football's moved on a little bit more now. Guys are getting goals and they're turning into assist kings. So yeah, the Gyokeres thing.
Sorry.
He will have a shot. I don't even know who that is, but yeah, I'm lost on train of thought. James,
Listen, he's been waiting. He's been waiting to talk about Gyokeres. Ian's an OG. He's one of the good guys. But yeah, I mean, Albert, you talking about the characteristics? He's got a little Gary Lineker. He's got a little Stan Collymore. He's got a little old school. You know, his physicality is beastly. He's absolutely beastly. And yeah, very exciting. James, what say you? What do you have to say on this fine Monday Madness phone in?
So, going off people like you've just mentioned and who he reminds you of and how he plays and everything, I was trying to think the other day because I had my father call me, and you know he needs to know the ins and outs of everything because that's just how he is. And he said to me, if you could describe him to anybody that played in the past, what would you say? And I went, Dad, I said off the top of my head, without even properly thinking or whatever, just from sample sizes that I've seen, I said David Trezeguet. I went, you know, just someone that's in the right place, right time. That, but he relied very, very much so on very precise and quick service, which is why I know people have got reservations about Madueke, and for me, Madueke's, it depends what he's coming in as. Now, I remember 4 seasons ago, Mikel Arteta chasing Rodrygo. We didn't get him. It then became Mudryk. We didn't get him. We can go through wingers after wingers after wingers that he said that we need, that we never got. Now, if Madueke comes in and he is that winger, I think rightfully, a lot of us should feel a bit aggrieved and a bit, you know, well, hang on a sec, why is that going on? But if it's Madueke coming in as a backup for Saka, I'm not really that against it, because all he's got to do, and it's like I said on Albert's show last night, is be better than Reece Nelson, which I think he probably could do because I don't really rate Reece Nelson anyway. And he's got to be better than Raheem Sterling was on loan last season. And if Madueke can't do that and be better than them two, then bloody hell, yeah, he really is a dud. That's But the main thing I wanted to mention, Sophie, tonight, and I don't know if anyone's done it yet, so if they have, apologies. I know you've got a show coming up later on in the week, so I don't want to steal a certain lady's thunder when she talks about him as well.
No, this is the phone-in show. You guys mention whoever you want.
I think the Norgard signing's going under the radar, Soph.
I'm with you.
The ones that people are most quiet about are the ones that normally will surprise you the most. If you look at it, we got Rice and Havertz and Timber. Everyone was going on about the first two, not so much the other. Jurriën Timber, arguably one of my favourite footballers to watch. I know that he's, you know, pretty much he got injured in that first year, but he's come in now and he's first choice right back, and he's arguably one of the best right backs in the league. But what a player! And I look at Norgard, and I think to myself, you're paying, what is it, 12 to 15 million pounds for a player that's a captain of his team. He's played 122 games in the Prem. He's not coming in to replace Thomas, like other people have mentioned. He's the Jorginho replacement. Zubimendi will be the one that starts. And this is a guy that, if something touch wood, I hope it doesn't, because I think Zubimendi's that transformational. But if Zubimendi has to take a step out, or if Zubimendi gets an injury, or, you know, he might get a knock, I don't think I can play the full game, but I can play a few minutes here. I think Norgard can slot in there. And I think he's going to be a really, really good signing. I really do. And I look at what fans say, Sophie, from the teams when players go. Because I know a few years ago, I was all like Albert, and I still am. I was all aboard that EZE train. But when I was talking to people that supported Crystal Palace, they were all going, Elise's the one you want. Eze's good, but Elise's the one you want. And I've looked at these the Brentford fans with Norgard, and okay, they're really appreciative that he's going on to something different, but they are gutted he's gone. So I really think if you take into account what other players are saying, other teams say about their players, it's really important. And he's a really valuable piece for them. So
that's a great point, because I've been talking to Natalie about him, and Natalie's mentioned him, and oh God, who's the other player from Brentford?
Mbeumo.
Who?
Brian
No,
Mbeumo.
not Mbeumo, not Wissa. Is he a
fullback?
Yeah, I know, midfield or defense. Oh my God,
Pinnock,
Henry Pinnock.
Darn it, Brentford players.
I'm trying to think. I'm
not embarrassed. Damsgaard.
Midfield.
Yes, I said that. Did you say Damsgaard?
Yeah.
Thanks, Albert, for rescuing me.
He's a good player, by the way.
He's a good player. We talked about him a lot too, and I was going back and forth with Natalie when we were talking about Wednesday's show, and Brentford through and through, whole life, right? And Norgard, she's so bummed that he's leaving for many, many reasons. And she's going to talk about him on Wednesday's show. But I agree with you, James. I actually said to Tom, I said, we need 3 or 4 more Norgards. Or maybe I was saying it to you and Demian in our group. We need 3 or 4 more Norgards. We need 25 minutes to go. Look what happened to our team last season. Legs, injuries, all of this stuff. We need more Norgards. And I agree. I think he's definitely a signing that will go under the radar. Right, we're 112 minutes, 1 hour, 12 minutes in. But I do really want to quickly get your take on something here. The Madueke thing is really, I don't want this to poo-poo our window, right? I think where the rubber will meet the road is if Arsenal pay 40 or 50 million for him, I think that's when the shit will hit the fan, right? But I'm with James on this, and Albert, I don't know where you lean, but to me, if he was coming from Newcastle or PSV or, Real Sociedad, Arsenal fans wouldn't have an issue with it. It's the Raheem Sterling thing that has left a super bad taste in fans' mouth. Kai Havertz has worked out just fine. Jorginho's worked out fine. Kepa is a bargain for 5 million. I said on the show the other day, I don't think David Luiz was as bad as people made out to be. Of course, Willian didn't hit the ground running at all. Chelsea buy from Brighton all the time. They even stole Brighton's manager from them too. I just think sometimes we need to calm the chaos. Am I delusional, Albert?
No, you're not delusional, but Sophie and James, we're involved in the YouTube podcast world, so you're right to maybe think you might be a bit delusional, but it's just, I get it. It is the Chelsea thing, once again. I think you make a good point about recently getting Raheem Sterling. I mean, me and James and Kenny Ken spoke about this yesterday. He's, in terms of from a statistical point of view, his numbers they're very similar to what it was at PSV. They don't tear up trees. He undoubtedly has talent. I think for me that the burning question is that, Sophie, I've been on here enough times. We spoke about Martinelli, and for me, he's stagnated. And the reason why he stagnated is because of his decision making. Especially in the final third. The 2 main things in regards to Martinelli, that pass he didn't make at Anfield, and just not getting his head up, the basic elementary things. And that's the same with Madueke. You mentioned it, Sophie, in regards to you spoke to Jason Cundy talking about Madueke, and they were saying that it's very, very split in terms of the Chelsea fan base, what they're thinking, because the issue with him is the same issue we have with Martinelli. It's his end product. He's got talent, he's got pace, he's direct. We don't have enough of that at Arsenal. I've always banged on about there's not enough pace in our side, and we don't go beyond the strikers. So in terms of the money being spoken about him, I get it, because if you look at the modern day market, you are seeing crazy money touted around. I mean, I almost choked to my drink when I heard the figure they're talking about in terms of Noni Madueke.
But he's young, isn't he, Albert? And he's an English player.
24, yeah. So if they bring him in, but you do make a good point in regards to the whole kind of, if he hadn't come from Chelsea, maybe we had got him from PSV, for example. So it is a very 50-50 call with him. It is, but it looks like the move will happen.
Albert, what I don't like is that Arsenal fans are throwing their toys out the pram and they're setting this boy up to fail before he even comes and puts the shirt on or kicks a ball. I do not like this at all. Who the freaking hell are you?
That's what we do. That's what so many of them do.
Honestly, I find it distasteful and I'm over it. This is ridiculous.
So if you know what's crazy, and
honestly, some of our fans are real babies. Like, get over it, for crying out loud.
Used to get Roy Keane on here, so but no, I was say
Roy Keane gave me the best hangover advice in a lift in Moscow during the Russia World Cup. Let me tell you, legend, absolute legend. He wasn't drinking at the time.
No, so I hear what you're saying, because you know what it is you know what's, I think the best way I can sum it up in terms of not just Madueke, but what you mentioned in terms of Arsenal fans just losing it. James, we spoke about this, like the goalkeeper situation at Arsenal, right? We linked with Juan Garcia. I thought they've taken the piss in terms of the loan fee that he's asking for last time. So Arsenal said, no, you know what? We're not going to do that. I'm fully on board with that. He has a season in goal as a number one, or for a part of the season as number one in Espanyol. Does well. He's got to move to Barcelona. It would have made no sense for Arsenal to go, oh, Mr. Garcia, do you want to come to Arsenal? We're going to pay 25 million pounds to bring you, but you're going to be number two. Arsenal fans would have lost their minds if they spent that kind of money on a backup goalkeeper. But even though they still lost their minds, we've got a goalkeeper for 5 million. So I understand what you're saying. So it's like just relax, just calm down, man. Go for a walk. Go and take up golf. Do something.
Yeah.
Like I hear what you're saying, Sophie. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But it's like, I just wrote back to Paul and listen, I agree. Would I pay 50 million for him? No, I wouldn't. It's not your money. It's not our money. Who cares? All of a sudden, you've been screaming for the club to spend money. They go spend money, but you don't like the player they're spending the money on, or you don't think the player is valued at that. It's not your money. What do you care? They're gazillionaires.
So and take into account, this is the thing.
Imagine being a Tottenham fan.
And take into account, this is the whole Berta thing right now. I think you're going to, in terms of the full effect of him being here, people go, he's been here since March. I don't care. To see him really sort of get his teeth into Arsenal in terms of not just the players coming in, the players also going out, because I'll be surprised if there's not some monetary value coming into the club in the next sort of 3 or 4 or 5 weeks.
There has to be. We've got to get rid of the Lokongas and the Fabio Vieiras and we got to get rid of all those people. Maybe Zinchenko's going. I hope Kivior stays.
Otherwise, Eze won't happen.
No. By the way, the Tottenham thing was a cheap shot on my behalf. My nephew's here and he's literally in the background.
That's why you said it.
And I did. And I was going to read this note out from Harvey as well, because Harvey wrote, have you seen the add-ons that Spurs were offering for Kudus? 1, winning the Premier League. 2, winning the Champions League. 3, winning the FA Cup. Sullivan told Levy to jog on.
Sullivan's got one to get.
No, massive love for my nephew Alex. He's one of the good ones. So yeah, right. I got to go. I've been on air for an hour and 18 minutes. What's your closing statement in 30 seconds, James?
Just enjoy them when they come in, and try and keep calm, because again, a lot of it is due to sales, and I think that we will make a sale, and we may have to sacrifice someone that Arsenal fans really do like, but that's the name of the game.
Another position that we've been wanting to be in is removing players who we really love, but these players have market value. We've wanted to be there for a long time too. And unfortunately, it was inevitable as we grew as a squad and a team that this would happen. So yes, Albert, 30 seconds. What say you, son?
Just off the back of what James was saying, Arsenal fans, we may love the players and we want them to do well, but we have to sacrifice and move players on. I don't have too much sentiment. We need to get better players in, and hopefully that starts with Gyokeres as well as Zubimendi here as well.
Yeah.
Control the tempo.
Yeah, and Paul, I understand it stops us from buying better players. Does it? I mean, that's the play they want. In their estimation, that's the play they want. I get it, it's hard. 50 million on Madueke. But if he was coming from Newcastle or somewhere else, I don't think Arsenal fans would have a problem with it. I really don't.
Look at the market. Elanga's going to Newcastle from.
Is EZE worth 65 million? Is he?
Yeah.
Is anyone worth?
That's EZE for 65 million is cheap.
Yeah, because it could have been a lot more.
And to get that on the old Klarna, like Arsenal love, is fantastic.
We love a structure. We love a structure.
So people have had a problem. People had a problem with Havertz being 65 million. I think we've got an ROI on Havertz. I think it's a myth that people say was a waste of money. No, 65 million for a German international who scored a winning goal in the Champions League. See how some fans will come out and say, "Oh, we paid 65 million for Havertz," but he was worth it, Havertz. I mean, look, we can go on and on. We'll have another conversation about valuation. All right, we'll do it another day. But follow these guys at Albert JTV. Please go subscribe to my boy Albert. And then James, what's going on with the podcast? Are you guys up and running?
Yeah, we're still about. Yeah, we're still alive. So yeah, come and have a look. Just at LLCallJames91 on Twitter or Instagram or whatever ones you want. And then all my links are in there. And if you want to subscribe to it, great. And if you don't, it's your prerogative as well.
Bugger off. And you know what? Why don't we? And by the way, I know Eze is great. Now I knew I should never have said that. Is he worth 65 million? I just think if he's worth 65 million, then Rodrygo is worth the same. I don't know. Is Rodrygo worth 80 million?
Sophie, don't worry. There's still people going on about how can you get excited for Gyokeres when he scored 19 penalties. I said it with Albert last night. I'll say it here. Why is scoring 19 penalties a bad thing?
I've heard a couple of people say that.
I'd rather have someone that can score penalties than someone that misses them like Odegaard in a cup game.
Okay, so here's what drives me nuts is they'll say that about Gyokeres and say, why is he valued? It was 19. But when they wanted Ivan Toney, and Ivan Toney scoring an abundance of penalties, it's okay, and he's worth the money. Anyway, we're going to do this. We're going to do a market value show. It's happening. You two are coming back for that. All right, because we got to carry on. Carry on this conversation.
Get learning Excel, Albert. Get learning Excel.
Squaddies, you've been amazing. Thank you to everyone who participated in the phone-in show this evening. I really super appreciate you. I'll just do this for fun. For those listening on audio, it's the cannon shooting the cockerel. Here we go. Okay, that will leave everyone in a happy mood. Okay, yes, and Paul, if you want to be on the show, we'll do that as well. We'll get fans coming in to talk about the market value stuff. I think that'll be really interesting. All right, don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them, Squaddies. Until Wednesday with Natalie Sawyer. Tomorrow, I have a date at Dave & Buster's with my nephew, Leo. I'm taking the day off. I'm going to eat bad food and I'm going to play computer games. Until then, at ease, Squaddies, at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
I walked into that one. End stream? Yes, I will. Thank you very much.